Hey, I'm Dr. Josh. I'm a chiropractor here in Brooklyn, and today we're going to talk about 8 hidden signs that your body is stuck in survival mode, and then I'll give you some tips and strategies I use with my clients to help them get unstuck. A lot of people may notice that if you breathe, you feel like you're just breathing from here, but you have a hard time breathing into the rest of your rib cage, and that actually is one sign that your body is stuck in a state of survival or a state of stress. Another sign is that you maybe feel like your traps or your upper back here is like always really tight. Like you're the kind of person when you go to get a massage, you make your massage therapist freak out and they're like, oh my God, your shoulders are bricks. And another sign is they may always feel like there's some kind of pain or tension in their neck or their jaw. If you always feel like you're in some state of low-grade anxiety, and you always feel like something is like a little bit wrong, but you don't know what it is, that's another sign that your body is stuck in survival mode. When you always feel tired and you have really low energy, that could be another sign that you're stuck in a state of stress. That means that no matter how much you sleep, you just feel like it's not enough and you're not rested. Now, a lot of people have this voice that's just talking all day in their head, and if the chatter is predominantly negative, as in judgmental or critical, and you're hearing that all day, every day, that's a really good sign that you're actually stuck in survival mode and stress. Another big one that a lot of people miss is that you find it really hard to think clearly. And so we call that brain fog. It means that you could be having a conversation with people you care about or a loved one, and you just struggle to communicate clearly because you can't clarify your ideas well. Or another place that shows up in a big way is at work, which means that you have a hard time focusing at work and staying on task. And the last sign that I want to talk about today is your emotional state. So if you have a hard time remembering the last time you felt peaceful or joyful for more than a few minutes or a few hours at a time, that actually means that your body is very likely stuck in survival mode. If at least a couple of those sound like you, then it's very likely you're stuck in survival mode or a constant state of stress. And so I already told you that I'm going to give you some tips and strategies I use with my clients here in my practice to help them get unstuck. And so we'll dive into the first one. Now this is a big topic, but we'll just do an overview today. And this one is mindfulness practices. Mindfulness practices means that you are going to spend time just with yourself, working on yourself. And that means no distractions, preferably no other people around you, and it just means quiet time that you use to work on yourself to improve yourself. And so some of the common strategies that I recommend are starting with some of my personal favorites. Now, something that's worked really well for me and a lot of my clients is meditation. There's a lot of different ways to meditate, so I'm not going to get too into that in this video. But the whole goal and purpose with meditation is not to just sit on some mountain and float when you're doing an asana, but it's actually to help you realize that you are not your thoughts and you are not your feelings, but rather you're really just there to observe them. And so a lot of people I've actually seen are really identify with certain traits or emotions, such as some people feel really angry all the time and actually identify that and just think it's part of their personality. Whereas other people may think that it's just who they are, that they just happen to be really stubborn or hard-headed, and they accept it as a truth about themselves, when really it's just a state that can pass. Now, the thing you have to realize about emotions is they are a product of chemical cocktails in your brain, and so it's not actually who you are. And so the whole idea of meditation is to learn and train yourself to realize that you are not your thoughts, you are not your feelings, you're just there to watch them. Another mindfulness practice that I'm a big fan of and use on a regular basis myself and recommend to nearly all of my clients is intentional breath work. This doesn't mean you're just sitting there and breathing, but breath work means that you are tapping directly into your own physiology and nervous system to help yourself. And the best part is it's free and it's always there for you to use. Breathwork means that you are going to breathe in and out in certain ratios and cadences and patterns. When you do that for at least 5 or 10 minutes at a time, you can actually create different chemicals in your brain that help your body relax and find safety. When you get more advanced with breath work, you realize that You can use your breath to increase activity in your body to get you ready for exercise, but you can also use it to calm things down, slow them down, and stop that chatter in your head. The best part about breath work and why so many people need it these days is most people spend way too much time in their head and not enough time in their body. When you do breath work, it pulls you out of your head and into your body and gives you a break from that voice. And since you have something else to focus on, often you'll be counting your breaths or counting ratios of inhales and exhales. It really can help you stay focused and also deal with that brain fog and fatigue. So I'm a huge fan of breath work. Continuing with mindfulness practices, there are a lot of other things that you can do, but the big theme with these is really that you're giving yourself some quiet time in your mind and doing something else as an outlet. And so one big one that I think a lot of people should do more of is some kind of regular creative expression. Some people do really well with regular journaling, which helps pull the chatter out of your head and put it onto paper. And it's a great way to create some space between what you're thinking and what you're feeling. So another thing that's really helpful is some people like to do pottery, some people like to paint, some people even like to play music. However your method, it doesn't matter, but some kind of regular creative expression is a really good way to focus on something other than the thoughts in your head and to create something beautiful for the world. Another common mindfulness practice, which is more common around the world generally, is regular intentional prayer. Now, that can be a bit of a contentious topic for a lot of people, but forget the religion part of it. The wonderful thing about prayer is it often brings people into a state of gratitude. And when you're feeling gratitude, it's difficult to feel other pain and stress and tension in your body. Gratitude is also opposed to survival because you're focused on all the great things in your life. So prayer can actually be a very helpful mindfulness practice as well. So another strategy that I use to help people get unstuck from survival mode is movement. Our bodies are designed to move a lot every day, and when we don't move enough, it's actually signaling our brain that we could be in some kind of danger, and so it can actually contribute and create a lot of this chronic stress and survival mode that people are stuck in. Now, most people these days have a job that makes them sit at a desk or at a computer all day, which is, of course, the opposite of moving enough. And so movement itself or intentional exercise on a regular basis is a great way for almost everybody to start to get back into their body and help their body get out of these patterns of stress and dysfunction. Every little bit of time that you can spare to intentionally moving your body is only going to help your health in the long run. And so I highly encourage you, even if it's just going for a walk every day, or if you're able to spare more time and do like an exercise class, a yoga class, or some kind of strength training, your body will thank you. A lot of people often ask me, how long is it going to take before I feel better? And so if I may talk a little bit about the science of the brain for a moment, the answer is you can experience results almost immediately when you start these practices, but in the beginning, they may not last very long. And part of that is when your body has been stuck in survival mode for a long time, it's become part of your nervous system. And when I say that, I mean that there have been structural changes to the cells in your brain and your nerve cells that have wired in those pathways over time. Think about it like, a stream will eventually carve out a valley given enough time and repetition. The same principle applies to your brain. When you are using these pathways of stress very often, it becomes hardwired into your system. But the good news is you can change that given more time and repetition. So the research shows to make long-lasting changes to your brain, you need to pick up and maintain a new habit for about 3 months. And so what I'm asking you to do is give yourself a few minutes every day, preferably 20 to 30 if you can spare it, to work on yourself, to work on moving more, and work on your mindfulness practices. If you can maintain that for a few weeks, you're going to feel better, and if you can maintain it for a few months, you're going to really start to change your life. So if you've been stuck in survival mode for a long time, don't worry. As long as we're sitting here breathing, there's always a possibility to make things better. But you're going to have to be patient, and you're going to have to show up for yourself, at least a few minutes every day. The good news is a lot of these tips and strategies I've shared with you are no cost, low cost, or completely free. That being said, if you're in New York City or Brooklyn and you need help with this, you can come schedule a complimentary consultation and visit me here in my office, and I'd love to help you out.